Hello everyone, welcome. Thought I should do some narration over this one so you get the process and a few tips and tricks. So what I'm starting is with the basic shape of the head, and I'm laying in the lines for the brows and mouth and everything. So even though this is a comic character and it's an illustration, it doesn't have to be absolutely precise anatomically. It's always good to start out with some realism and some real shapes, the shape of the head and everything. So as you've seen, I added lines and everything, the brow line, added the brows and the basic shape of the helmet. And now moving on to the second layer, so I can do a more refined sketch. And see, I'm working on only half of the face, the head. That's because I'll be mirroring it later on. So I know that faces are not usually symmetric, but in this case it doesn't make much of a difference. And right now I'm adding all the expression lines separately, so it will make a bit of a difference. Now I'm adding the microphone. I'm working in Photoshop, and I'm working with the pen tool, not the brush tool. It's easier for me. And this is basic sketching. I mean, not much to tell at the moment, to describe. And as you can see, this is the full head sketch. Everything and all the features is something I'm playing around with, some background ideas at the moment. But no, these won't be used around. So I'm jumping into Adobe Illustrator right now for the inking. I'm using a calligraphic brush, and it's set to weight 15 with the pressure. The pressure goes from 1 to 15, so I like having weight variation in my lines. It gives something of a plus on effect, let's say like that, because if you have just one line weight all over, you can tell which ones are deeper grooves and which lines are in front of the other. So that's my technique. As you can see right here, I have the sketch, I have the rough sketch, but I'm not necessarily sticking to it. I'm adding some details, and you see the teeth. That didn't work out. I didn't like it, so I just changed them up. And the same goes for the mustache and the goatee. I sketched in the rough form and just went with lines from there on. Just one thing you need to remember when inking and illustrating digitally: undo is your best friend. It's so easy to fuck up a line, and don't try deleting it. From my experience, it would only take more time. So just undo and do it again. Do it as many times as it's necessary. It depends. This very much depends on your technique, on your stability, how well you can just draw a line, and of course on what you're using. I'm currently using a tablet, but it's the pen type, not the one with the display. So it's a bit harder for me, because there's always a disconnect between the hand and the screen. Okay, so we're moving on to the rose, again with the calligraphic brush. If you can see in the for the edge of the helmet, the outer lines of the helmet, I used a 15 point brush, but I didn't have any weight variation, right? So I went consistent line. Now I'm trying I'm trying and I'm failing at the microphone grooves. Then once I got some of them done, it's super easy working easily to just copy and paste. Okay, for the eyes and the M symbol, I've used different colors because I already knew what I wanted to do color wise. What you're seeing now is me just reinforcing some of the lines. As I said, line weight can help push certain parts of the illustration to the foreground. So don't be afraid to go for thicker lines. It's usually the outline. Let's say like that. It's usually the outlines from how I use them, but not necessarily. So now I'm moving on into Photoshop for the coloring. So my process is basically laying in the base colors at first, the local colors. Just fill everything in. You don't have to be. I'm not being very careful because I'm working on layers, and you can add one layer on top of the other. So like I'm doing here, although the red part is overlapping the purple part, the purple layer is on top, and I'm just adding color over it. Yeah. Again, with the colors, I don't try to be very precise as tone goes and as far as saturation goes and everything, because I know this is just a guideline for me. I'll be coming in later with other brushes, other tones and saturations, and I'll be changing the entire thing. Yeah, so this is me working on the lips and everything. It's as far as male characters go, lips are not very pronounced and not very different in color from the skin tone. See, if you had a female character, you draw some bigger lips and some fuller lips like that, and more luscious and redder or pinker if you want to go for a naked effect. But as far as male characters, I've seen that this works better. Just go with the skin tone, a little bit more saturation, a little more, and that's okay. And thinner lips, not the full lips. Okay, so I'm moving on to the rose. So this is a near traditional rose, so that's not that much to say here. Maybe I'll do a tutorial on this later on. But just go wild. Okay, so as I said, each part, each color, each has its own layer, as you can see in the right bottom corner, because it's I'm usually, when coloring, working with clipping masks, so it's easier if you have just one color, one object on one layer, and then add a clipping mask and just work with it. So as you can see now, I've added a clipping mask over the red part of the helmet, and it's I don't have any issues with going outside the lines anymore. You can work freely, you can color more easily. So what I'm doing, what I was doing is just using a texture brush and to add some texture to the helmet, because it would look somewhat bland if it didn't have some texture. And afterwards I came in with an airbrush, a big airbrush, or set on low opacity, just to put in some thick shadows. Again, remember, this is a old school type illustration, comic style, and it's not necessarily realistic. So if you're going for realistic, this is not the way. Now I do some textures to the face and some a 5 o'clock shadow or something like that, because this is crossover between just how I thought of it, crossover between James Hetfield of Metallica and Magneto. So we're gonna have some shadow there, some reminiscent of a beard or something. And okay, now it's the eyes. I want to go for something of a blind shadow something, so I played around with different brushes, different colors, and different ways of adding an effect. Oh, I think this was the final draft on it. I was pretty happy with it. They have some similarities to the White Walkers or something, zombie something face, but I was okay with it. It's creepy, it's scary, and it's a focal point. Yeah, one thing you gotta think about when this type of illustration is where you want the focal point to be. So that's the place you're gonna keep lightest or darkest and texture a lot. So have a focal point. For me, it wasn't the mouth, it wasn't the rose, it wasn't. I just wanted to keep the focus on the upper part of the head. So those eyes were just doing the trick really well. And the most important thing I found is that you should always experiment. Just go and color something in. You don't like it, remove the color it another way, and that's about it. So what I'm doing now is trying to add a metallic effect to the microphones. For that, I'm using a large airbrush with low opacity, the fuzzy airbrush, not the hard one, and just going back and forth from top to up to down, just adding some highlights, adding some shadows and everything. So I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Also added some nice effects around the grooves, the holes, just because that's where the light would come in. And now I'm texturing the leaves. That's not really necessary, but I like it, so it's a nice touch. Add some texture to it. It pops up a bit. Okay. Moving on to the rose. I've worked some textured brushes here, but I'm not quite happy. I would have preferred to leave it, just work with the airbrush and have a smoother, more gradient. But it's, again, seeing how this is not the focal point of the piece, I'm okay with it. I'm using with just as a note, I'm using the stock Photoshop brushes, so there are no custom brushes either created by me or just from anyone else. So all this is done with custom brushes. I have like probably 3 or 4 brushes I use. It's the airbrush, the hard airbrush for blocking in color, and the soft airbrush for gradients and some shadows, and then I'm using number 17 for some textures, and I don't know what other one. It's the one with just dots for like hair and everything, because it has like a pattern of, I don't know, 20 dots, and just move it around, so it's easier than going with just one airbrush and doing all the lines. So what I'm doing now is adding some lining to it. First I added the background, the simple solid black background, and now I'm adding some using the soft airbrush. I added the big blue lines, and then I came in with the lighter blue inside with smaller brush, and then with some white inside just to create the gradient effect, and some outline, some white outline along the entire piece just to pop it out. And there it is.